To the hard facts. The hard facts is that on Thursday, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is sworn in as Prime Minister for the second time, there will be no jhappi and puppy with a Pakistani leader. Unlike 5 years ago, when the Prime Minister invited SAARC leaders and Nawaz Sharif, among others, was there. This time, it's the leaders from the BIMSTEC countries, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, Thailand, Mauritius, even Kyrgyzstan, who've been invited. But Pakistan has been kept away. Today, Islamabad downplayed what is an obvious snub. Geeta Mohan with tonight's top story.
In a strategic move, the Government of India has invited Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral, Technical and Economic Cooperation or BIMSTEC nations, Mauritius and Kyrgyzstan for the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Council of Ministers on May 30th.
हमने तो शुरू से कहा है कि जो भारत के साथ रिश्ता रखना चाहता है उसे आतंकवाद से तौबा करना होगा.
In 2014, Prime Minister Modi had invited SAARC leaders for the oath-taking. But after terror attacks from Pakistan, SAARC summit, which is to be held in Pakistan, has not taken place. Pakistan was isolated after Pathankot and Uri attacks. This, experts believe, is a move to strengthen the alternative grouping.
It is not a matter of surprise at all that given the state of our relationship, which is very, very negative and very, very highly adversarial, especially the last, let's say from the beginning of this year, it would have been a bit awkward at this stage to invite them to the meeting.
In a statement, MEA spokesperson Ravish Kumar said that the Government of India has invited the leaders of the BIMSTEC for the swearing-in ceremony. This is in line with the government's focus on its neighbourhood first policy. The only SAARC countries that are missing from this invitation list are Afghanistan, Maldives and Pakistan. By choosing Maldives as his first foreign destination, Prime Minister Modi has reached out to Malé as well as emphasized its strategic importance. Afghanistan and India share a very strong relationship where there would be enhanced cooperation in the new Modi administration.
A huge diplomatic strike by India, but also a message to Pakistan that India's neighbourhood first policy does not include Pakistan and will not include Pakistan till terror infrastructure in Pakistan is not dismantled.
Apart from BIMSTEC, the Indian government has covered Mauritius, an important nation in the Indian Ocean, and Kyrgyzstan, where the Prime Minister would be headed for the SCO. With Geeta Mohan in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And today, Pakistan attempted to downplay New Delhi's snub. Pakistan says India's internal politics did not allow Prime Minister Modi to invite Prime Minister Imran Khan to his swearing-in ceremony. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi is quoted as saying the focus of Modi's election campaign was on bashing Pakistan. Let's raise some big questions. How big a snub is this to Pakistan? Has India now reiterated its stated principle, no talks till terror ends? When will be the right time to begin talks? Will Prime Minister avoid Imran Khan now at global summits too? Why does Pak back terror despite being financially crippled? Just some of the questions we'll raise. Joining me at the moment is former High Commissioner to Pakistan, G. Parthasarathi joins me, one of the country's most experienced diplomats. KC Singh is also with us, former Secretary at the Ministry of External Affairs. I'm also joined by Vijay Chautaiwale, who's in charge of the Department of Foreign Affairs at the BJP, and Sultan Ali, Pakistan Defence and Diplomacy Analyst. Let me come to you, Mr. Parthasarathi, first, because you've seen it all over the years. Have we now seen very clearly India sending a firm message to Pakistan? Look, it's no longer business as usual post Pulwama. We'd rather deal with the rest of the neighborhood. We're going to isolate you. BIMSTEC matters much more than so-called SAARC neighborhood, SAARC cooperation.
May I give you a rundown on this?
Yes.
That decision was taken in 2016 for two reasons. One was terrorism. Secondly, SAARC was not delivering. We had agreed in SAARC in 2003 to have a free trade area, followed by a customs union, followed by an economic union. Pakistan did not even implement the free trade area. Our exports were banned. More importantly, we were denied connectivity to Afghanistan. The purpose of a free trade area is to enhance connectivity, and it was denying us. So Pakistan primarily was regionally knocked out by us, but you must remember one thing, Rajdeep. Almost immediately, Afghanistan and Bangladesh both accused Pakistan of fomenting terrorism and
Are
decided
you
to
saying,
withdraw.
Mr. Parthasarathi, that therefore this move is not something which has happened post-Pulwama, post-Balakot, to send out a firm message to Pakistan and Imran Khan? It's not business as usual post-Pulwama? Or you believe this has been building up for a while?
This was coming because look at it this way. The leaders of BIMSTEC, of the Shanghai SCO are the others are invited of BRICS are invited to Goa. Thereafter, you would be surprised, the army chiefs of BIMSTEC countries have met here. Connectivity has improved not only with across BIMSTEC, but now Bhutan and Bangladesh are getting access. Bhutan and Nepal are getting access to Bangladeshi ports. So connectivity across our eastern thing is going. Let Pakistan do the same thing. We'll do it tomorrow morning with them. But they don't want to trade with us. They deny us the connectivity with Afghanistan. And finally, Afghans were dead against them. And now they are dealing
So
with...
they are, you believe, responsible for their own isolation. They've created a situation today where they
it's not
find
just
themselves
India.
isolated. I take your point.
It's Afghanistan, India,
It's
Bangladesh,
other countries are also slowly isolating Pakistan. Is this therefore, KC Singh, also a conscious strategic decision to look east? That's where our future lies. Unlike in the past where we've tied our neighborhood strategic policies entirely to Pakistan. In that sense, is this a major shift by the Narendra Modi government on day one of Mr. Modi's second term, on his very swearing-in day, in contrast to what happened in 2014?
Rajdeep, I see it differently. If the intention was to completely snub Pakistan and slam the door in their face, then we would have also invited Afghanistan and Maldives. The reason we've not done that is that you have snubbed Pakistan, but you have not firmly slammed the door in their face. You're saying we are this time inviting BIMSTEC. We've also not invited Maldives. 3 members of SAARC have not been invited, 3 out of the 8. 5 which are a member of BIMSTEC, which is a bridge between SAARC and ASEAN, plus Kyrgyzstan, because that's hosting the SCO summit. Therefore, Prime Minister has kept a little door open for a possible encounter between the 2 Prime Ministers. It would have been very difficult for Prime Minister Modi to suddenly go from Pulwama and Balakot and Pakistan thumping over the last 2 months to suddenly again receive Imran Khan, and that would have just raised expectations and created theatre again. I think the lesson they have learnt is, if we have to engage Pakistan, do it in a calibrated manner, away from the cameras and without the theatre, and I think it's a sensible step. That you leave the door a little ajar, and then because remember one thing, those who got you Abhinandan back, those who got Masood Azhar listed, which was all used during the election campaign, they are US, Saudis, Emiratis. They would also want you to talk to Pakistan. There is an Afghan dialogue going on. Americans are talking to Afghanistan. So there would be unseen pressure on India.
Are you saying to me that at the SCO summit next month, are you telling me, KC Singh, at the SCO summit next month, if Imran Khan is there, and he's likely to be there, and Prime Minister Modi is also there, they will meet there without all the tam jham, if I may use the word, that we will have at the swearing in, that you expect a meeting, but without the theatre?
I would not be surprised, but at the same time, unless we have some commitments from the intermediaries, from Pakistan and so on and so forth, it may not happen. Why is the Kyrgyzstan president also invited here? He is not part of SAARC, he's coming from SCO. So there is something going on which is not visible, it is not bad, it's a calibrated way of moving forward, and I think it's a sensible approach.
You know, it's a sensible approach, Sultan Hali, but there is a message to Pakistan also somewhere there, that you cannot expect India to do the jhappiyas and the papiyas that Mr. Modi did in his term 1, which actually got him a lot of flack, because he went to Islamabad on an unscheduled visit or went to Lahore, met Nawaz Sharif in December of 2015. A month later, you have Pathankot, then you have Uri, then we've had Pulwama. Pakistan must realize that now it's not possible for the Prime Minister to take ad hoc decisions. They're going to be calibrated. There will be no theatre unless Pakistan first gets its act together when it comes to combating terror.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. I actually fully agree with K.C. Singh that it would have been extremely unnatural if Prime Minister Modi had actually extended an invitation to Imran Khan after the height of hostilities that we saw post Pulwama. So I personally never expected such an invitation, and now that it hasn't come, I think we were mentally prepared for it. But perhaps, I mean, as K.C. Singh rightly pointed out, the door has been left ajar a little bit, because in diplomacy, you don't shut all the doors suddenly and, expect to achieve results. End of the day, we are neighbors. We have to coexist, and we only hope that things will get better. So if the two prime ministers actually get to meet at Bishkek, away from the limelight, and try and chalk out an agenda, a roadmap by which we can improve relations, probably it will be more welcome than what you just said, and it would have perhaps been a little embarrassing for Prime Minister Modi to have welcomed Imran Khan at his swearing-in ceremony.
Vijay Chautaiwale of the BJP, you're the head of the foreign affairs cell of your party. Is that the reason why Imran Khan and Pakistan have been kept away? Because the Pakistanis are saying that today, internal politics, given the way the election campaign was run, where the Prime Minister actually took pride in Balakot, ghar mein ghus kar mara hai, the embarrassment that he would have had to face had he invited Imran Khan. Is that the reason why you finally decided, let's keep Pakistan out of this, out of the glare of day one? We will do any kind of diplomacy with them on a later day? Or have you shut the door on Pakistan? Is it shutting the door or keeping the door slightly ajar for a later date?
See, Rajdeep, first thing is that BJP as a party and current government has no compulsion to talk to Pakistan. We have made it clear in past also that terror and talks cannot go together, and we are walking that path for last 3 years, 3.5 years. So saying that it is our domestic compulsion is nothing but the absurdity. Keeping Pakistan into the context, Pakistan is suffering from two major crises. One is its financial crisis, and the second is pressure from both on its western side and also from India. And Pakistan is simply unable to sustain this diplomatic pressure, and therefore it is their compulsion right now to talk to India and mend the fences, and through which they can create some political capital that they are so-called peace-loving and therefore try to improve their image. But the international community has also seen through this game for last 3 years, and I don't think unless they take some very credible step against the terror apparatus in their own country, any of this
so are you telling me, Mr. Chautaiwale, are you telling me that the Prime Minister will not meet Imran Khan in Bishkek next month? Are you giving me an assurance that we won't have those sudden photo ops, sudden attempts as we saw last time in Ufa in the previous government?
I will not.
Are you telling me that this government is very clear now? There will be no photo ops with Pakistan till you are convinced that Pakistan has acted against terror? Is that what is that message clear this time? Because there were lots of mixed signals in Modi 1.0.
Rajdeep, I am not saying that. Please, Rajdeep, I am not saying what Prime Minister is going to do. He will take his own judgment and do it. And some transactional issues are under discussion even today. For example, we are discussing with Pakistan on Kartarpur corridor, and those discussions have not stopped even in the current hostilities. So there will be few transactional discussions going on, but any kind of multilateral comprehensive discussion or dialogue to take place, I don't see any such chance, at least in the near future.
So
ball
therefore
is in
there's a
Pakistan's
shift.
court
Therefore we
till
see
they
a clear...
show
I
a
take your
credible
point.
evidence.
I take your point, Mr. Chauthaiwale. We seem to see a clear shift.
No, there is no shift.
No, 1 minute.
There is no shift.
Between term one,
See,
between
again in the height
2014
of-
and
again in the
16,
height
just
of
a minute.
Pulwama,
Mr. Chauthaiwale,
we were talking
between
to
2014
Pakistan.
and 16, the Narendra Modi government made various attempts to reach out to Pakistan. For whatever reason, those attempts ended up in even further terror strikes, as we saw in Pathankot, Uri, and other terror strikes. I am asking a straight question to you now, Mr. Parthasarathi. Are we seeing a clear shift? Is the government now realizing that there is no time for political theatre with Pakistan? Whatever we have to do, keep it low profile, do it incrementally, no big bang anymore.
I think you have to bear a couple of things in mind. First, we are now going to go to the Financial Action Task Force, where they are going to be kept on a very tight leash on terrorism. If, say, one is taking decisions in Delhi, one, as you say, will move incrementally, watch with the snows melting, infiltration resumed. Watch the situation on the ground. If we have an inkling that they are not behaving, things are going to be made much more difficult. I won't go into that at this stage. But I will say this, that all this talk between two NSAs is nonsense, because the Pakistani NSA does not wield the power that Doval does in India. There are no backroom
channel negotiations on.
There will be discrete contacts through various channels for government to decide, for it to assess how to move forward. You don't, even at the height of Kargil, we had channels open. So channels are always open with Pakistan. What the channels are will be for government to decide.
Between 2014 and 16,
Yes.
if you look at Mr. Modi's track record,
Yes.
there were various attempts where he and Mr. Sharif, sometimes dramatically, sometimes less dramatically, made an attempt to break the ice.
Yes.
Are we very clear that that period is over? That Mr. Modi has very clearly sent a signal to that extent. What's going to happen at the swearing in is also that part of that messaging.
There is no going back to pre-2016.
There is no going back to pre-2016.
What we will have is discrete contacts, back channel, you call it anything. You always talk to a neighbor, even during war, which we did during Kargil. How that is done, who does, like we had Rajesh Mishra doing it, and no one knew it was happening. Knowing Mr. Modi, he will naturally be careful of how he goes about it, but if process of contacts and engagement, not of dialogue, I repeat, not of dialogue.
I think you make an important point and a distinction, because KC is saying, let's look at the campaign. Given the nature of this campaign in this election, Pakistan perhaps had a far more central role than ever before. In several speeches, BJP MPs and the Prime Minister himself referred to Pakistan as a sponsor of terror. Given that backdrop, do you believe that it is too early now to change anything on the ground? We will need to see, as Mr. Chauthaiwale also says, credible evidence before we are ready to make that next big move.
No, that's what I said when I made my presentation the first time, that we've left the door slightly open. I'm sure there are already channels operating between India and Pakistan. Pakistan, incidentally, at the moment doesn't have a national security advisor. There was some speculation they may be appointing one so that they can have contact with India. But we know that in the last cabinet reshuffle, the finance minister again and the interior minister is much closer to the Pakistani military. And you could see the military having a more direct, more forthright control over some of the appointments in Prime Minister Imran Khan's cabinet. There is the international pressure on him. Americans are using carrots and sticks and all kinds of things to get what they want vis-a-vis Afghanistan. Chinese will play their own game. So everyone's playing their own game. I think what India is well advised to do is probably what appears to be getting done now, is start incrementally engaging Pakistan, figuring out that you can't have constant confrontation. No other country in the world beyond a stage will support that kind of an approach, because they all have interest in Pakistan. So there is a limited window in which they'll help you with Masood Azhar, they'll help you with Abhinandan, they'll help you with this, but beyond that you'll have to find your own way of handling
is part
Pakistan
of that own way, sorry to interrupt, is part of that own way, Mr. Singh, shifting focus to the east, that we are moving away from a SARC-centric approach when we look at our neighborhood to looking east, and that too represents a qualitative shift.
No, but this is nothing new, Rajdeep. This organization was created in 1997. This is Gujarat's time, precisely because we had got sick and tired, as Ambassador Barsarthi said, of SARC not going anywhere. Indo-Pak relations had just stalled SARC. So then we started what is called sub-regional cooperation, and we were in any case reaching out to the ASEAN. So the Bay of Bengal area and the two countries there, Myanmar and Thailand, Sri Lanka was already a part of the SARC. We started this sub-regional cooperation, that let's do it to the east if we cannot work on the west, and this has been going on since 97. So this is nothing new.
It's not nothing new, but the prominence.
Emphasizing it. And at the same time, as I said in the beginning, the fact we did not invite
the prominence that's
good.
been attached.
Yeah, the prominence that is being given is good, but this has been, yeah. No, obviously by inviting just those leaders, and as I said, by not inviting Maldives and Afghanistan, you did not want to make an issue that we've called our SARC leaders accepting Pakistan. You didn't want to focus on that.
Right.
So it serves you an advantage of not creating a controversy, by at the same time emphasizing your closer relationship and engagement with the countries around the Bay of Bengal.
You know, Mr. Hali, at the end of the day, will Pakistan get the message? Is the big question. Will Pakistan realize that SARC has been held hostage much too long to Pakistan? Summits have not been held now for several years. And unless Pakistan mends its ways, SARC remains defunct. Has that message gone across? Will Pakistan recognize what is happening? That it's not just India, but Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, other countries in the region also, who are slowly distancing themselves from Islamabad. You're being isolated.
Well, Rajdeep, let me assure you one thing, that India is a sovereign state. It has every right to pursue its interests vis-a-vis ASEAN, vis-a-vis BIMSTEC, and distance itself from SARC, which you rightly point out was going nowhere. And the main reason was the Indo-Pakistan rivalry, or shall we say hostility. So therefore, India has every right to choose a path which is going to pay dividends. As far as getting the message across to Pakistan, you see, we don't need India to tell us about the message, because already, you see, all of you have mentioned FATF, which is hanging like a sword of Damocles over the heads of Pakistan, and we have to satisfy the FATF first.
That's the Financial Assistance Task Force.
Yeah, the Financial Assistance Task Force, that we are taking steps to ensure that we either come out of the grey list and we don't get relegated to the blacklist, because that would definitely spell doom and gloom.
Right.
So it is for our own survival that we have to take steps.
Okay. Vijay Chautaiwale, do you ever see that photo op happening? Prime Minister Modi and Imran Khan, do you see that happening in Modi 2.0 or not?
I am not an astrologer. I won't comment on this.
You're playing safe. That's a good way to put it, because I think that's a safe, relatively safe way of putting it. Unlike Modi 1.0, we can't guarantee anymore whether that photo op will take place. It could, of course, take place as early next month at the SCO. But thank you all very much for joining me here on my Top Focus.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.